Hello everyone, and welcome to the lesson on matrix equations, day one. We're gonna look at equations with just two variables. Tomorrow or the following day, we'll look at equations with three variables. So let's take a look at this. The way we're going to use a matrix equation to solve a system of equations, right? So you have your system of equations here, and if we put them in a matrix, you get that. The answers go here in their own matrix. So in order to do this with calculator or anyway, you got to get rid of your variables. So 7x becomes 7, 5x becomes 5, and so on. So we're going to make a matrix of the coefficients of the x's and y terms. All right. So let's put that in the calculator because we have to find the inverse of it. Second, matrix A, we're going to edit. It's a 2 by 2. And the elements 7, 5, 3, and -2. So we have our matrix of the coefficients. So now let's get matrix A, and we want the inverse, so we're going to use this key right here, x is -1. It's going to put the little -1 there, and we hit enter and you get that, but we don't want all those decimals, we want fractions. Okay, so the inverse of A uh, 2 over 29, 5 over 29, 3 over 29, and -7 over 29. So we have that. We're going to multiply that in this next step down here by the matrix of the answers to the equation. Okay, so we have the inverse of the matrix times the matrix that's made up of the two values on the right side of the equal sign. So if I go back to my calculator, I have that matrix. I'm going to multiply it by, oh, I didn't put the second matrix in. So let's put matrix B in. I forgot to do that. And that is a 1 by 2. Excuse me, 2 by 1. What was I thinking? Uh, 3 and 22. There's our matrix B. So here we want to take our inverse. We want to multiply it by matrix B, second matrix B, and our answers, you get 4 and -5, which means that x equals 4 and y equals -5. Okay. You don't necessarily need to have this identity down here, all right? Because we know that the answers, we laid them out in the matrix. The items on the left were the coefficients of the x's. The items on the right were the coefficients of the y's, all right? So you have a 4, -5, which means that your solution is 4, -5. So let's go back and take a look at this. We had our equation, 7x plus 5y equals 3, 3x minus 2y equals 22, and we created a matrix of just the coefficients, the 7 and the 3, the 5 and the negative 2. So we took that matrix right here, and we found the inverse of it, used the calculator. Then we took the inverse of the matrix and multiplied it by the matrix we created, the two values on the right side of the equal sign. So I have the inverse of the coefficients times the values on the right side of the equal sign, and that gives you what your values for x and y are. So this has been the lesson, first lesson. Tomorrow we're going to do a 3 equation with 3 variables, or the next day. First lesson on matrix equations. And this lesson has been brought to you, almost all of them been brought to you directly from my dining room table.